Hello, pretty people. We're going to do another ghetto doll review. Don't mind the background. It's just some stuff my husband is working on in the other room. Anyway, I just really quickly wanted to show you guys this doll that is from the NPK brand on Amazon, of all places. The link for this doll is going to be in my description box. So if you're interested after you watch this review, then you'll know where to find her or him if you decide to change the gender. It comes with this birth certificate where you have space to write the name of the baby, the date of the birth, the gender, the weight and length, and the name of the doll's mother. And it comes with a little bottle that the nipple is pulled out of, so when you open it up, you're gonna have to assemble it. It comes with this little pink fluffy blanket that she is laying on, which is only a small blanket. It's just a little tiny blankie. And this doll, that's actually a little bunny rabbit. It's like a soft plushy one. She comes with a magnetic pacifier, and she comes with, wait, did I show you the pacifier? How the pacifier looks? And she comes wearing a bib with this gigantic animal face on it. I don't know what animal this is supposed to be. It could be a bunny, but it doesn't look like the ears are big enough to be a bunny rabbit. So what in the world is this? I don't know. Is it an Easter egg? Can an Easter egg be an animal? Only in Fantasyland. Okay, when we lift the bib, you'll see she's just wearing a plain white shirt, not even a onesie, some little bloomers, and she's already wearing her diaper, which usually comes separate on these kinds of dolls. She's stuffed, and her limbs are very jiggly vinyl, super soft, super soft. One of the softest I've felt on these Amazon dolls. And another thing I was surprised by was the hair on this doll. It feels like mohair, but I don't think this is. I really think this is a type of synthetic fiber, because I highly doubt for the prices that these dolls on Amazon are coming with real mohair if it doesn't actually say that in the description. I didn't find anything in the description that said that. So I'm going to assume it is synthetic, which means even though this hair feels like mohair and is super soft, it probably will get tangled and matted if you don't take good care of it. The face is super duper squishy. Like really squishy. The head is not weighted. The limbs are not properly weighted like what we would expect for an artist scale Reborn doll, but it is very squishy, and it is like limp, which is what I'm looking for when I'm looking at these dolls from Amazon that claim to be Reborn dolls. No, they're not. These are not Reborn dolls, you guys. I don't care how many people list the dolls on the internet as Reborns. If they don't fit the criteria, they're not Reborns. Okay, sorry to say so, but it's true. They're like Reborn dolls is more accurate, but these are factory made dolls that may have some hand applied features, but they're mostly factory dolls. Okay, I think for the rooting job that this doll has, it probably is a hand rooted doll. It looks like that to me. And I'm saying this all as a Reborn artist myself. I do make Reborn dolls, but I just haven't done it in a long while because I can't be bothered. I'm too tired for all of that. But anyways, you can see how the eyelashes, I should say the eyebrows are looking. Those eyebrows do not look hand drawn to me. They're very crooked and like super dark, and I just think for like a handmade version it would be a lot more delicate looking than this, but I've seen worse. And then of course these eyelashes, definitely not mohair. These are synthetic eyelashes. The fibers are very like hard and stiff, and the color of the hair, when I looked at the listing photos, I thought this hair was brown, but in person it isn't. It's very light colored. I can almost say it's like a dark blonde color, to be honest. Whatever. I guess it's better than her being completely bald. Also, I think this doll looks cuter in person than it does in the pictures. She's got like modeling details in her face. The vinyl of the arms also, she's shaded. So she has like red splotches on her skin, and the nails are tipped and glossed. And you can see she does have like different little veining details and stuff on her body. Same with the legs, and I haven't taken these things off, but we'll take a look at her feet to inspect as well. The doll comes with this little headband, which is kind of bootleg because it's not really a headband. It's just a piece of ribbon that they put this little bow clip. They attached it to the ribbon, but it comes right out. Like you can take the bow off. So it's a little bit ghetto style, but the effect is there, okay? In my experience, these dolls, even though they're sold as if they're collectible dolls, they also are sold to be like played with by children 3 and up, which kind of negates the fact that it's a collectible. So I don't perceive these dolls as either, to be honest. I don't think these are collectible dolls, and I don't think that these are play dolls, because you can't have both when it comes to a Reborn style doll. It's got to be one or the other, you know? So the problem with these dolls is that they cheapened the quality so that it doesn't quite measure up to collectible standards, but they also made them too delicate for an actual child to play with properly. So if you're planning to get these kinds of dolls for your children, I don't recommend it. I think you should just get them a factory doll, because they're going to bang the doll up. And no matter how careful your kids are playing with the dolls, they're not going to be as careful as an adult. So I just don't think it's a good idea. And the reason why I say this is because these kinds of dolls, if you handle them, not even that much, but if you like often hold them, you hug them, you sleep with them, you change their clothes, they will turn blue on your ass. Okay, look at this doll. This doll looked like somebody beat it up, like literally, like he came out the ashes, right? And this doll's not even that old. It's only a couple of months old, but it's a doll that I constantly handle and like fidget with and touch all the time. That's why it got like that. And I have some other dolls that have that same issue, but their skin tone is naturally darker, so you can't see it as blatantly as you can on the lighter dolls. So these dolls are no different. They're pretty much the same. And even Ashton Drake dolls also have this problem, even though them dolls be over $100, okay? So I'm saying all of this to say, as a Reborn doll artist, Reborn dolls don't have this issue because the people who make the dolls put such effort and care into the paint job that the dolls are less likely to change colors on you over time, even if you do redress them a lot. And most people are not cuddled up with their Reborn dolls and rubbing them all over their clothes and like dye is transferring. That's not really happening with Reborn babies, because they're mostly for display and very light touch, like very light play. So they handle the dolls as if they're real babies. So you're probably not going to see that so much with a more expensive Reborn doll. Whereas with these dolls, they're not designed like that. So you're going to see problems with the vinyl sooner than later. And also, same problem with the Ashton Drake dolls is that their hair, because it's not real hair, it's not human hair, it's not mohair, it's synthetic, very cheap synthetic fiber that they use for the doll hair. In a very short amount of time, if you keep like messing with the doll's hair, it will mat up on you and you will not be able to detangle it. It's going to be a nightmare. So unless you almost never touch the doll, okay, that's the trick. How do you prevent that from happening? Just don't do nothing with your doll. You can redress the doll, you can very lightly handle it, very lightly, you know, mess around with the hair. But for the most part, most of the hours of the day, your doll should just be sitting on a shelf somewhere, just looking cute. Like, you can't handle these kinds of dolls like you would a play doll. So this is why I don't recommend that parents buy these for their children. It's just going to end up being a waste of your money, and your kids are going to be so disappointed and sad when they can't get stains out of their doll. The doll's hair is all matted up. They just look in a hot ass mess. At least I would be upset if I was a kid that had those problems with my doll baby after, you know, I'm treating it like a real baby in my own eyes. This doll, I did want to try this doll out as a display doll only. I don't normally buy dolls that have like sleeping eyes. It's not really my thing, but for the purpose of it being just a like a memory doll, that's what I wanted to use this doll for. So this doll, once I get it changed, she's not going to be, you know, she's not going to be like a cuddle buddy. Like, it's not going to be a comfort object. It's just going to be sitting on a shelf, basically, right? Those are the details of this doll, but I'm going to go ahead and give her an outfit change. I'm actually going to switch her to a boy instead of a girl. I felt like it would be maybe a more suitable boy doll for me. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll see how she looks as a boy. Alright, before we change her clothes, let's just take a real quick look at the construction of the body. It's basically a cloth body. I thought it was white, but actually it's like a beige kind of color. She does have 3/4 limbs, so that means she's got a quarter of her limbs are the soft fabric, and then the rest, 3/4 of the limbs, are actual vinyl. But that means that you're limited in the clothing you can put on a doll like this. You can't put like short sleeves or like no sleeve tops, underwear, or onesies without bottoms, because you'll be able to see the cloth body. So that's something to keep in mind. But this does make them a little bit more flappier than some of the other dolls that I've seen with full limbs from Amazon, that, you know, when they put the limbs together, they make it so tight on the joint that you can't turn them and they don't flop. So that takes away from the rebornness of the doll, like the feel of the doll. It doesn't feel like a floppy little baby. And again, because this doll's head is not weighted, look at how tightly they have it like attached to the cloth. So you can't spin the doll's head easily. If I was to reborn this doll myself, which sometimes I actually take the dolls apart that I get that are like factory dolls and do my own little touch to it and put them back together, that would be something that I would, you know, do myself, is to make the head rotatable. Those are just some features that I wanted to point out. But the body is pretty well stuffed, and you can see it has a little split here where the butt's supposed to be. The legs are already like pre-bent, so this doll can kind of sit up, but she's not going to stay balanced on her own. You do need to have her supported with something in order for her to sit up, but it can be done. Which the dolls that have the full limbs that don't have the floppiness to it, they can't do that. Even if you try to like support them, they won't sit up. They'll just keep sliding down because they want to lay down. So that's a nice feature that this doll has that I wasn't expecting. She do look like she got electrocuted though, because I was trying to look at her hairline just to see what the rooting looks like around the hairline. The plugs don't look super bad. From what I can tell, I do think that this doll was hand rooted, so that's interesting. But I can tell from the quality of this hair when I'm touching it, it's soft, but it's just the kind of hair texture that it's gonna get matted. It's just inevitable unless nothing is done to the hair. Like once you style it, you just leave it like that, or you cover it up with a hat or something to keep it protected so that it can't be like messed with. Oh, and just another closer look at some of the face details. You see that there's like blushing around the cheeks, the forehead. There's modeling, very, very, very light veining that is barely being picked up by my camera here, but it is there. So she does look quite realistic, even though the quality is nothing even close to a real reborn doll would be. Just, I'm trying to make this distinction to let y'all know this doll is like, it's pricey for a play doll, but it's cheap for a reborn doll. So it ain't a reborn doll, but it also ain't a play doll. You understand what I'm trying to say? Something in between. These dolls need to have their own category. I don't know what we should be calling them, but they're not reborn dolls. So I changed the baby. We've turned it into a boy, and I just covered up his hair with a little cap because I don't want to be bothered with trying to fuss with this doll's hair. I like that it has hair, but I don't like what the hair is probably going to become if I mess around with it too much. So unless I'm taking pictures of it, probably not going to have the hair out. But I did fit the doll into a newborn sized romper onesie type of deal, and I just put it in long sleeves because I don't want the limbs to be exposed. Once again, as little exposure as possible to the air so that it doesn't have as much opportunity to change colors. I don't know what causes that. If anybody knows more about reborn dolls or vinyl baby dolls like this, tell me in the comments what's causing the dolls to change colors like that. There is a fix for it, but it doesn't always work 100% depending on like the technique you're using. So you kind of have to like trial and error with that. And who wants to be bothered with all of that? I don't. I'm too lazy. So I'd rather prevent it as long as possible. But as I stated earlier, this for me is going to be like a memory doll. I know you're like, a memory doll of what, Gypsy? A memory doll of my baby that was stillborn in 2024. And I have tons of video and pictures of him. I told you guys I was going to do a video kind of like chronicling what happened with that whole thing, just for awareness so other people can be aware of what I went through. For me, because it was like totally unexpected. Thank goodness for dolls, because they played such a huge therapeutic role for me in my mental health of being able to recover from that. You know, I wanted to have like a memory doll that we can use as a stand-in for him, because in my culture and Korean culture, we have like death anniversaries every year on the day of the person's death. But because there's a lot of ancestor worship that goes on during those ceremonies, I don't participate in it the same way my relatives do, but I do have like a remembrance day on people's birthdays of my relatives who are passed. It's the firstborn son's duty usually in the family to keep those dates remembered. My son Jinu would be in charge of something like that in our family. Every year on the date of the stillbirth, you know, we try to do some kind of a ceremony for the baby to remember him by. So I like to have like a stand-in, like a doll that I'm using as my stand-in for that, just to have a representation of him there, like a physical representation as opposed to just like a picture. So for me, it's a memory doll in that sense. But my baby, even though I'm black, my baby was, when he was born, he was white. I don't know what that's about. I've never had a white baby before. I did with this one, so it didn't make sense for me to get like a darker baby to be the stand-in for him, just because visually it wouldn't match the way that my baby actually looked. And he did have very dark hair. He had like jet black hair, so that's why I thought this baby would be okay, because I thought in the pictures the doll's hair looked darker than what I'm seeing here in person. Another good way for me to not even have to deal with it is just cover up the hair, so I can't see it. I can just pretend that it's dark. This is the one I'm probably going to use moving forward as my little stand-in baby. So when I do those little ceremonies and remembrance kinds of things for him, then you guys will probably see this doll showing up in pictures and videos and stuff like that. I'm going to put him away, but I don't need him to be all floppy and like cutesy and Reborn doll-ish. I really don't need that for the purpose that I need to use this doll for. But if you are actually trying to collect Reborn dolls, this is what I'm giving you, the information I'm giving you to let you know these are not Reborn dolls. I don't care what people say, they're not. Okay, I know you want them to be, but they ain't. Stop being in denial. These are not Reborn dolls. If you want a true, actual, authentic Reborn doll, you can only get those from artists who make them by hand, do all the painting by hand, the rooting by hand, the stuffing by hand, and use very meticulous supplies to put the dolls together. They make them floppy, they make them weighted. That's the only way you're going to get a real Reborn doll. You need to go to a trusted Reborn site in order to order them online, or find a Reborn artist. There's a ton of them here on YouTube that you can see their work, maybe get a reference from someone who might have used their services before. There's like different ways that you can find Reborn artists, but they're gonna be more costly than what Amazon is gonna charge you for these dolls. Trust me, I do not think these dolls are worth hundreds of dollars even on Amazon, no matter how high quality they claim that the dolls are, because they're not real Reborn dolls, and they're trying to sell them as Reborn dolls. So it's like false advertisement, bro. Okay, yeah, so that's my take on this baby. What do you guys think of this doll? I think it's a good starter doll if you're just starting off your own Reborn doll collection. You don't want to invest tons and tons of money, but you want to kind of have the same effect of a Reborn doll. These are great substitutes for that. If you're a very hands-on person, I don't recommend these dolls, because you're not going to like the quality that you end up with in a couple of months from overly playing with the doll, okay? These are supposed to be for display. They're not supposed to be played with. That's what makes them collectible. So they're not like our Barbie dolls, you know? We can play with them, we can customize them, we can do all kinds of stuff to them, and then they'll still be in pretty good condition as long as we take care of them. These dolls are completely different. This vinyl is really soft. Like, it's like, when I say soft, I don't just mean like squishy soft. I mean, when you touch the vinyl, it feels like skin. It has texture to it. It's like sticky. Like, it doesn't feel like smooth plastic, right? So even getting the clothes on the doll, like I have to kind of struggle to get the clothes over the limbs, because it wants to just stick to the doll. And the face is like very, very like soft. It feels like actual skin, if that makes sense. The plastic that the dolls are made of is even quite different than what you would see in like a toy store. There's some level of, you know, just medium quality, I guess I would say, for these dolls. Are not super, super best quality ever, but they don't have like the hard plastic heads that the Ashton Drake dolls have. You know, it's something in between. But if you are interested in the specific dolly, then you can follow my link in the description box. I'll have a link for this specific doll, as long as it's available, of course, on Amazon. Sometimes the dolls look very, very different when you actually receive them in person, because they ain't Reborn dolls, okay? They be using actual Reborn doll pictures for the prototypes, and then be sending you something else. So I'm gonna link my storefront in general down there for you guys, so you can go over and take a look at some of the other stuff that I have curated in my existing storefront as is right now at the time I'm filming this. You know, bookmark it so that you guys can go back and check, because I'm almost daily updating that list of dolls for you guys and doll related items. And of course, the best thing I think about these dolls is that you can put real baby clothes on them. So some of the clothes that I didn't get to put on my actual baby, because obviously he's not here for me to put the clothes on, I can fit onto this doll. This is a 22-inch doll, but I always say go smaller for the clothes. Don't buy what like a real baby at 22 inches would probably be wearing, because real babies move around and they get fatter with time, so they need like space in the clothes to grow into it. But these dolls are not alive, so they can't do that. They're not going to grow, they're not going to move. So I like for the clothes to fit on them as tightly as possible to hide any of the fabric that's on their bodies, and so that it doesn't look all loose and baggy on the baby. I just think it looks more realistic and cuter when the clothes are tighter on the doll. So that's just what I like to do. I try to go for the smallest size possible. For dolls in this size range, it's usually going to be about newborn size, but dolls who are even shorter than this, I can fit into preemie clothes sometimes. But I normally don't have to go higher than like a 3-month-old baby's size clothing in real life. And you can fit real baby shoes on these dolls too. Usually a size 0 or a 1 will fit fine on the dolls. So I hope you guys got some good information from this. What do you guys think of this little baby? I'm going to call him Bentley after my son. He's got to go take his nap in a new little display spot that I need to make for him. So we'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, I'm Gypsy. You go have a dolly day.